This is from ESPN, storylines to watch for the Browns-Colts. It's a preview. So both of Cleveland's possible starting quarterbacks very familiar. Deshaun Watson played 6 games in Indy while in Houston, throwing 8 touchdown passes, running for 2 more, completing 70% of his passing attempts. P.J. Walker entered the league with Colts 2017, spent parts of 3 seasons there. We're going to move on to bold predictions for this game. The Browns defense will outscore the Colts offense in another dominant defensive performance. Cleveland is top 5 defensively in almost every category but turnovers. That changes in Indy, they say. Browns will force Colts into multiple miscues. Stat to know, Browns have allowed 1,002 yards this season, 3rd fewest a team has allowed in their first 5 games since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger. And the last thing on this one, matchup X Factor Colts running backs, Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss. Gardner Minshew not going to be able to pass the ball on the Browns, plain and simple. Game will come down to the Colts defense. If the Colts run game can generate enough points on the ground, they have a chance. Again, you know, the interesting thing is if all goes well, it will be Deshaun Watson, and I don't think it's fair to expect him to come out and throw the ball 30 times for 300 yards, but you never know.
Yeah, that is quite a bold prediction. I want to go to that real quick before I forget. Is the Browns defense will outscore the Colts offense? And if those turnovers that we're calling for happen, that's on the table. I do think the Colts are going to struggle to score touchdowns. I think it's going to be mostly a field goal battle as far as the Colts are concerned. But Watson, like, he's had 6 games with Indianapolis. It's hard for me to infer anything that he's had in the past because there's so much turnover since the last time he played against Indy. They have a couple players like DeForest Buckner and Shaquille Leonard, but for the most part, those guys aren't there anymore. He'll know where the locker room's at. I think that's helpful, you know, as far as playing in that building before. But you know, there's too much turnover. He has to expect something for himself. You know, if you say you're good enough to go, that means you got to be good enough to play and good enough to excel. And you know, and from his explanation, that's why he didn't go against Baltimore. He would be hurting the team. Well, if you're willing to go, you can't hurt the team. So, you know, I don't expect, like you said, 300 yards, but I expect him to build upon that Tennessee game. For me, that's going to be the bar going forward.
So the other thing is the run game has to be a concern. You know, Jonathan Taylor is kind of, I don't want to say he's Nick Chubb, but he's as close to a Nick Chubb type running back as there is in the and Zach Moss has been great.
Yeah, Zach Moss is 2nd in the league in rushing. That's not by accident. He's someone they're going to plan to use. And obviously, as Taylor gets his legs back, he's going to eat into those carries. But that is a 2-headed monster. That is something you have to be prepared for. And for the Browns, you got to take them out of that running script, because as long as they can just consistently attempt to run the football and they're within striking zone of running the football within, you know, 10 points, then you have to deal with that. What you got to do is you got to put your foot on the gas and get them out of that and put them in passing situations so you can allow your pass rushers to hunt, so you can allow your DBs to affect the game. You know, so you got to take Indianapolis right out of that.